Are you sure that the dream that you're chasing is actually yours? I'm not so sure about mine anymore. We've all heard that expression, keeping up with the Joneses. And to the most part, I felt like everybody, including me, had kind of moved past that, seen through the illusion. The perfect little career ladder, or, the perfect little house with the lawn and the picket fence, and, just the material things that we were all realizing were not bringing us happiness. But I feel as if, in a way, we're in a new rat race. And it's as if the Joneses have moved to Bali, and now it's not the things that we're kind of comparing ourselves to, but it's the experiences and the lifestyles. For example, the YouTuber who's with the ocean view and say, oh, this is my office view for the day. And now instead of worrying about the material things, we're thinking about our lifestyle and comparing that and feeling like we're never enough. So at the beginning, I was a bit horrified because I was like, wow, I feel like I'm just actually in a different rat race, maybe doing a little bit of the things that I used to think were superficial, but I'm doing them just in a different way. So I sat with that for a while and I pulled some tarot cards because that's how I process things. And I want to share the insights that I got from them because what came up is so interesting. It's a lot less dark than what I first thought. And also, there's actually something useful happening here. So let's dive in. If you're new here, I'm Catherine, and I use tarot to help people reconnect to their intuition. And that's exactly what happened with the tarot cards I picked for myself that I'm going to share because I think they actually have universal truths that can help anybody in the same situation as me right now. So we all know the traditional keeping up with the Joneses idea. And it's that thing about, your neighbor has a better yard or a new car or a new dishwasher or something that makes you think, ooh, maybe I should get that, or why don't I have that, or how can I get that? And it was a lot of material things. And I think on a general level, a lot of people started rejecting that idea and realizing that it wasn't the material things that were bringing us happiness. And so for a long part of my life, I was like, oh, I don't think I'm in that rat race and I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. But recently, I was on my phone looking at things and I realized that I had a couple of pinches when I would see, somebody say, with the ocean view and say, oh, this is my office view for the day or something. And all of a sudden I was like, well, what is going on with my life? Somehow I might not be, why am I not as successful? Why am I not able to do that? And I realized in a way, I'm actually kind of in a rat race of my own. It might be different than the old rat race, but in a way, I'm comparing my life, or it's for sure I'm not wanting the things, but I'm wanting the experiences. And I'm not just talking about Bali. It's almost anything that seems free, the van life people, or personally, I'm attracted to people who are living off grid and making their own food and being a little bit self-reliant. The list goes on. It's almost like any way of having freedom or escape, you can find it, and you can find a version of it online that you just start having a little bit of a panic of thinking, well, why am I not doing this? Or maybe I should be doing this, or maybe I need to change my life so that I can be doing this. And the old Joneses, you would see their lawn maybe once a day, maybe twice on the way to work and on the way back. But in our feed, we end up like swimming in other people's dreams and other people's lawns 24/7, or as long as you're on the internet. The feed is infinite. And this is not a video of saying social media is bad, stop watching it, go put your feet in grass, even though that is a really nice thing to do. No, I think it's like a healthy mix of understanding that like what we see is good sometimes to inspire us. And the thing is, actually, a lot of what I see, I genuinely want. For example, to be more free, to be in a beautiful place, to not have necessarily a boss that dictates my time, to have a lot more agency on what I do and when I do it. Who doesn't want that, right? So it's not like everything is bad or everything is good. It's a really kind of interesting mix of like, what is it that I really want? So because I use tarot to get in touch with my intuition, I wanted to ask the cards, why is it that I feel like I'm in this rat race? Or why am I comparing myself to others? And why can't I just follow my own thing? And the cards that came out are, I think, so beautiful. And I think they give so much insight and universal insight, probably for you if you're going through something similar. I got the Strength card and the Ace of Swords. So I love this Strength card. Let's start with that one. I love seeing that cat look into the mirror and seeing that lion. And I think what I'm getting here is that one of the reasons why we have that feeling of being in the rat race or comparing ourselves or feeling like we're inadequate is because we don't have our own North Star. We don't have our own lion. And once we do, it's easier almost to not be distracted by other people's lines. When we know where we're going, if we see other people, it'll be inspiring, but it won't feel like that anxiety is coming to get you. And the interesting thing about strength, too, is that strength is a card about compassion and gentle, soft power. It's not about using brute force, let's say. And so to me, it's also like the best way to get out of the rat race is not to say, don't look at the videos, or you're not supposed to be, feeling comparison, or you're bad because you're doing it for shallow reasons. No, I think it's about being compassionate and asking yourself, how can you grow into that lion? Who is that lion that you want to grow to? But it takes some time of standing in front of the mirror and asking yourself that question. I also think that's where this card comes in. The Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is all about clarity, seeing clearly through things, and kind of cutting and cutting it out of the bullshit, or cutting kind of like the loose ends. And I think that's what again, both together, is about finding clarity. Clarity not to protect yourself from other people's lives, but to protect yourself from losing the thread of your own life. When you don't have a clear picture of your lion, everybody else's lions feels like it could maybe become your own. And so you're not comparing yourself out of ego, you're comparing yourself because you're curious. And openness is a gift. It's just that if you do not have the clarity of where you're going, it can then start to become anxiety. And for me, for example, I have an idea of what I want. I do want the freedom. I do want to be working with tarot. I might want to be doing something in the coaching form. I'd love to be by the ocean, some kind of form of water, but I don't really know exactly. And I think that's why sometimes when I see all these other choices, it can throw me off, because I'm kind of searching for my own. And so I think the main thing is I need to find my own first. That will help me stay on my own path and not be so distracted by everybody else's paths. And so in a way, I feel like the answer here is to find your North Star, but that sometimes can be easier said than done. So how do you find your own North Star? One, it is to experiment. You kind of have to go and test these things out so that you then don't spend years and years dreaming or fantasizing about them to finally get there and realize it's not really what you're looking for. Like, I went to Thailand 2 years ago because I was curious about thinking, oh, maybe I do want to move to some place that's warmer, hotter, being by the beach. But when I get there, I just realized it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. It wasn't exactly for me. Sure, I get it. Going to Thailand, that was an expensive trip. It was an expensive trip for me. We can't always do that type of thing. But there are little things that you can do. Sometimes it's about, for example, for the farming thing, I know that I need to actually go out and try it a little bit more. And there are some things I could do, like some woofing, or maybe go volunteer on the farm, or actually try experimenting a little bit more in my own house. Actually do it so that then I can start thinking, okay, do I really like this? Do I really want to continue this? Or is this just something that I've seen that was inspiring, but that is actually not for me? The thing to remember too with that is when you do realize it's not for you. For example, when I went to Thailand and realized it wasn't where I wanted to be, well, that is not failure. That is actually your GPS, your personal GPS, recalculating and being like, okay, it's not that, it's not this, it maybe is more like this, but it's not exactly that. And then you kind of redefine and refine your North Star, that clarity, that place that you're going. Then, of course, is about really being honest with yourself. And, sometimes I know I can get caught up in this idea of like, but I want to show people that, like, I'm successful in my business. And if I did live in Thailand, or if I lived in this exotic place, then I could maybe be showing that like I had kind of made it somehow. But I think, again, it's about really diving deep and like asking those questions and saying, do I really like this, or do I like the idea of it? And sometimes the answer to that is not always obvious, and you have to sit with it for a bit. The second tip I have is, if you do not know your North Star, if you don't even have an idea of where you want to go, that one has actually come up for me sometimes. Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know really what I want. Well, I would suggest you focus on the feeling of what you want. You don't have to focus on exactly where it is. I don't know where I want to live in a physical place. I don't know yet, because the places I've gone, I haven't always fit what exactly I'm looking for. But I do focus on the feeling. I know I want to feel really this feeling of peace. I want to feel freedom. I want to feel that like happiness, the joy. I also want to feel like I have space. I don't want to feel that, that kind of like feeling of having too many people, the touristy element of it. I want it to be beautiful. I want to feel certain things. And actually, that's what I do sometimes in my meditations these days. Is I don't visualize precise things. I visualize the feeling. And the feelings I usually go for is that I want to feel so happy that I almost want to cry. I want to feel that contentment, the gratitude. I want to just feel peace and at peace in my life. I want to feel as if like I'm so happy with my own life that I'm not comparing to others. And those feelings you can actually get to in meditations. And the more you actually kind of stimulate or simulate them in your body, the more they actually start getting attracted to you. So that is another way of attracting your own North Star and finding your own North Star. And the last thing I want to leave you with is that North Stars change. And that one can be tough too. So you might be going for this one, and then eventually it will change. And that's actually also where it's important to keep coming back to that question of, does this still resonate? Is it really what I want, or is it just the idea of what I want? And sometimes we build so much or we work so much towards something that then we finally get there and it's not exactly what we want, and we need to again recalculate. But it's being honest with yourself. And even if you've taken time to get there, and even if you've spent money or in education or things like that, it's important to continue to ask yourself that question and to allow it to be able to change. But even if it is changing, it's still good to have your North Star, because that is what's going to help you not be distracted by everybody else's North Star or their shiny lives or all those things in the feed. When you have your North Star, you won't feel as conflicted by everybody else's. So it can help you follow that path and almost have blinders on to whatever's going on beside you. So I hope this video has helped. If you found yourself in this new rat race, kind of chasing freedom and not really knowing if it's exactly yours, remember, I think the clue to all of this is finding your own North Star. So take some time to journal, to reflect. You can do some mind mapping. You can look online. Joe Dispenza has this thing about a mind movie. It's really interesting to do. And you kind of come into your own version of what you're looking for. Please let me know in the comments if it resonated with you, or if you have any other way of finding your own North Star or not being distracted by everybody else's life choices. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you lots of love and lots of laughter, and I'll see you next video.